Amara Burrel Williams. I am the wife of Pastor Kevin Williams, who is the pastor at Greater Bible Way Temple in Albion, Michigan. I am just going to be doing an interview with you guys today, just so you can get some more information about myself and about my views on the ministry. Pastor Williams and I have been married for a little over 2 years now. The 2 years has been a blessed 2 years. We kind of jumped right into ministry short after not even short after, but as soon as after we got married, almost immediately. So one thing I can say about marriage is that it is work for marriage. And when you have someone that's just as willing to put in the work with you, it makes it worth it. So it's been a blessed, I love this man with all my heart. So it's been a blessed 2 years. Amen. So my family and upbringing. So I have one sister who is about 5 years older than me. I have a brother who is 3 years older than me. Then I have a little brother who is 14 years younger than me. And I grew up in a very structured, biblical family. My father, who really exemplified the biblical traits of a man, his willingness to provide for his family, just a really loving and nurturing family. I can remember countless times where laughter was always a part of our home, and God was always a part of our daily routine, was church or ministry or something to do with God. Even during the summertime, we used to have to do book reports, and they were on the Bible. We would have to take a subject and actually expound on it. So, but I would not trade anything that I grew up with, the family that I have, for anything in this world. I absolutely love my family, and I cherish them even to this day. I am from Muskegon, Michigan. And how it differs from Albion, actually it does not differ much from Albion. I just went home for a resurrection weekend, actually to Muskegon, to my home church. My brother just got installed as assistant pastor over this weekend. So I just went home, and on our way to my parents' house, I was sharing with my husband how much Albion reminds me of Muskegon. There's certain streets in Albion that I'll write down. I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks like my hometown. So it actually really does not differ much from me. I know since moving from Muskegon to once I got married, we started off in Belleville. Now we're in Albion. And when I went back home, there were a lot more things there. And I'm thinking, why did you wait until I leave to start, adding on these places that were never there before? But it actually reminds me a lot of Muskegon. Albion does. So my hopes for Greater Bible Way Temple of Albion is to, of course, the obvious is to increase our numbers. I think there is just so many lost souls out there who really need God and God's direction. And the pastor here, because if you consider a lot of ministers that are out there right now, a lot of them are really just motivational speakers. They don't really dive into the Word as our pastor does. It's very rare that a young man of our pastor's age will dive into the Word and teach it how it's supposed to be taught. And I really just So my hopes and vision for the church is that that lost souls come back to Christ, whether you're in a backslidden state or whether you're somebody who never thought that you would ever grace a church. That's just my hope. It's just to reach the lost souls that are out there, because people are dying on the inside. The enemy is just running rapid, and so my vision is just that God manifests Himself and that He continues to bring people into the ministry. So my parents influenced me in the ministry greatly. And I cannot talk about my parents without talking about their parents, who all had a great impact on my life and the way that I do things as far as the ministry is concerned. My father's parents, they parented 12 children. My father has 11 siblings. My grandfather started the church, Christ Simple Church in Muskegon Heights, Michigan. His wife, my grandmother, who just passed last year, they were great examples of what a pastor and wife looks like. When you've seen one, you've seen the other. They were always together. And that's the same with my parents. A lot of people reference my parents, and they say that they act like they're still on the honeymoon stage, which is to their children is a little gross, because it's a little gross because, it's your parents, but to see them be that much in love, and my father still says that my mother is his girlfriend, and just their love for each other really shows that that God is love and that He's present in their relationship. So as far as how they influenced me as the ministry goes, my mother, pastor references all the time, and he says that I am a third generation First Lady. But my mother and her support for my father, it's kind of indescribable. She, countless times, you'll hear her praying, and her greatest prayer is for the Lord to continue to strengthen him. I think people, I've heard once that people say, do you feel that you were called to be a First Lady? And I say no. I don't think it's a calling to be a pastor's wife. It takes great discipline and strength to be able to continue to support your pastor. And it's a selfish job, a selfless job, because your husband spends a lot of time encouraging other people, and you have to continue to support him through that. So it is it's a selfless job, but it's also rewarding, because you get to see the God move through the man. And so that's really how my parents influenced me. They were very transparent when it comes to their roles in the ministry, and just being a good example for us and being consistent in that example. So they influenced me greatly when it comes to the ministry. To those who are curious about Greater Bible Way Temple of Albion, I'll say just come. Just come one time and just see for yourself. Sometimes the devil has a way of making us procrastinate. And you'll say, you know what, I'm going to come next Sunday. Now that church looks like it's pretty interesting. Let me go the following Sunday. But my advice to you is just to come and see for yourself. The people here at Greater Bible Way Temple, I use this reference a lot, but when I first came here, I came here for a concert that the church was having, and this was prior to Pastor and I courting, and I gave our praise team, our church praise team was supposed to come and do a selection, but that did not happen. So I ended up having to do a testimony in the place of, and I left before the service was over because I was alone and I did not want to drive, by myself too late at night. So I left, and one of the members here followed me outside, and she said, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. I just wanted to give you a hug and tell you it was a blessing to see you. She did not know me. She did not know my name. But just if I was someone that, because I've been in church my entire life, but if I was just the first time comer, that just me being in church all my life and how that encouraged me, and it made me feel good to know that somebody would, run after me and make sure that I felt welcome and that I felt okay with coming back. That just radiates throughout the church. We have a variety of ethnicities in this church, and the common ground for this church is that we show love to one another. And so my advice to you, if you're deciding or if you're kind of teeter-tottering, is just to come. Just come one time and just fill it out for yourself. The future programs that I would like to see for the church is my uncle, when he was the chairman over the Northern District Council, he actually founded this building here, and what they would do were a lot of tent crusades. So I think as far as like programs, I would like to bring back just the old-fashioned church outside tent crusade, because sometimes in the building it's hard for the word to get out to the person that's around the block. But if you bring the church outside, then it can reach more people, and more people can get influenced by the word. And secondly, I would like to, or my thought is to bring something that's geared towards the youth within the church. The youth are dealing with a lot of struggles that, sad to say, that a lot of grown-ups are having to deal with. A lot of youth are having to grow up more rapidly than what they should, and to have more programs to keep their minds encouraged, to keep them encouraged, to let them know that they are not being overlooked. Suicide is high right now, and just to reach the young people, because they are our future. The young people are, and just to let them know that they are welcome and that someone loves them. Just more programs to uplift our youth. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that something that was said helps to encourage you to come and visit. We are located at 402 Austin Avenue in Albion, Michigan. You can also visit our YouTube page, our website, which has all of our social media avenues. Our website is gbwtalbion.org. May the Lord bless you.